place. As we load into the game, we finally get to see that it is, like we suspected, you know, that Ben v Heimerdinger in the bot lane. But Antic already getting very active level 1 in towards the top side, wanting to set up a little bit of vision here, potentially spot out a lane swap, right? You know, whilst not the traditional Jinx or Tristana, if Kayle and Heimerdinger are able to set up in top lane and have the same effect, they can continue to bully down those turret plates here. But for the time being, it is just going to be that Kayle and Heimer set up towards this bot side of the map, wanting to perhaps get a conventional 2v2 going for themselves.
Certainly do. Obviously a very proficient 2v2 in the sense of laying the trap, setting up the turrets, guaranteeing the damage, and really zoning them from afar. We're going to put the pressure down to Drake to showcase just how highly prized this Nautilus pick is, to try and find some value with it. He did as much as he could last game as Leona, but it just wasn't to be. His team just wasn't tanky enough to weather the amount of pressure that Grand Zero could throw right back at them.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you can see here, actually, it's going to be a lane swap picked up here for the side of Antic. They're going to be the ones to initiate this. Both top laners leashing their junglers around the map. And it does seem like we might just have a divide clear down the middle of the map. The top half, all Antic, all wanting to get this goal onto King. Meanwhile, the bot side is Ground Zero's domain.
Well, let's see then how explosive this early game will be, whether or not will be as Grand Zero favourite it was in game 1, or if Antic, even with all those late game scaling tools, can find themselves a little bit of early game magic to try and keep things exciting. That's what we want, especially on LAN. You want those hype games with the crowd really behind it.
You absolutely do, but you can see here game 1, there is literally no interaction besides in the mid lane. It's PvE everywhere else on the map. Kisei and Ryoma, yes, they'll be training with each other, but look at this, right? Both top laners leash their jungler. That means no one's in these lanes to answer whatsoever. They're looking for a dive, but Skimmy, there's no one to dive.
What are we diving? 4 members here and nothing to be found because there's 4 members top as well. We really reinvented the wheel here as to, we just don't want to fight. This is no longer a PvP game. We're just here farming minions, taking towers.
And the question is for me whether these top laners, I would assume, have gone towards the Demolish rune just to be able to walk up there, proc that, get a little bit of an extra chunk going on. You can see TN absolutely will. 3 Demolishes coming through now on towards this turret. As we take a look at the predictions, Ground Zero convincing a lot of people with their game 1 performance.
84%. Let's see what, can we find ourselves a kill in the mid lane as Kisei is under the pump, answers back with a massive orb chucked on his head, and Ryoma just, well, he scurries out of that one.
Yeah, there's no flash here, but look at Swiper. He's in the area, will get spotted here on vision. What can Kisei do to get out of this?
Sneaky, looking for it. Shen jumps in first, so he gets that one. Kisei says, not today. And then TN hits him with the bomber right in his face, and Swiper is stuck between a rock and a hard place, saying, Grand Zero, they know all too well.
It feels like deja vu. Once again, Ryoma going down, and then the fantastic scat of the week from Kisei to make sure that even Swiper, who commits the flash, isn't able to find the kill. And then all it is a matter of TN landing that body slam flash. And much like the start of game 1, Ground Zero off to a racing start.
They certainly are, and they find themselves up by close to 1,500 gold, but just always in the right time at the right place. It almost feels like an added essence of predictability from their opposition, as we know what you're looking to try and achieve, but it just will not be able to happen. As they rock up to bot lane to assert themselves a standard formation, Ground Zero say, well, you know, the damage has already been done.
Yeah, and the question is now, how long is this going to remain standard for? We saw that in game 1, it definitely wasn't long at all. As mid lane once again tends to be the point as, hold on, hooks landed.
Draku turns around, full stat of flash, and that is Ben V under the gun right now. That's not a bad response, given just how much pressure he can put out. And you already talked about the squishy nature of a Heimerdinger. Yes, you want to try and use your turrets to block out those hooks, but you've got to be absolutely on it. And if you're juggling 50% HP, I don't know if that's a gamble you want to take anymore.
No, you absolutely don't. That's a huge hook from Draku. Even just chunking him this low with Swiper in the area could set up for a potential dive. You've seen Schönfire has just channeled the base. He's sprinting towards bot lane. Antic, they might be managing to force some bases out here. It's a pretty massive wave though. And Swiper has brought Ryoma down as well.
Scouted them out with not only the walls but the turrets too. Good awareness then from Schönfire to reset and make this one a matter. 4v2 under the tower, soon to be 4v3. Recall those servers and find one. King becomes just that. Flip back a second and both carries of Antic find themselves a reward. But a denial on King is absolutely huge.
Yeah, huge play from him. Actually holds his flash there. Knows he's going to get executed. Didn't take damage from any champion there. Will just go down, but this time Antic, they managed to successfully execute the dive. Off the back of that Draku play earlier, right, the chunk, the burn, summoner spell means that all they need to do is walk up here. Really nice from Swiper as well. You can see Ben is positioning away from the turret. There's not really a nice E to be had for that Poppy. Instead, just one-shots Lemus with the feathers coming through from King as well. And you can see they execute there, denying the kill, going back over. So with that play, Antic will get themselves just within 1.2k gold.
Within touching distance in this early stage of the game, I'm sure Schoenfire is kicking himself, given that he did jump out with the clone to try and get that kill before King denied himself. But yes, yet again, I should say, they reassert themselves as the lane swap kings. They just want to continue to traverse the map and say, we really want to keep you guessing.
Yeah, and this lane swap will coincide with the spawn of those Void Grubs, right? So much like in game 1, I would expect they want to prioritize though. But meanwhile, that does leave a very big window in this bot lane. You can see Lemus and Benvi already hitting the turret here. Schoenfire as well to dissuade any potential plays. And this might be just a turret cracking before 7 minutes rather.
Looking to be the case. And Schoen is just going to poke his head into the area and guarantee that, yes, you will not be contesting this whatsoever. So 6 minutes in, all plays taken, all the gold acquired. You can see the difference if we pan into top lane, severely lagging behind, but out comes the Weaver's Wall. They want to try and lock in place Tien. He's got the mobility, but he's being flipped back. The body slam denied. Dragku getting low! And Dragku dying for a 1-for-1.
He will trade 1-for-1 there. That's the key thing. Manages to buy enough time and allows Ground Zero to crack that turret on the bot side of the map. First one going over every single plate. A lot of gold going into the pockets of Ground Zero.
So much gold in both these games so far has just been simply by acquiring turret plates for free. I mean, there's just all this micro movement to try and find the best track to get yourself into these lane stakes, and Grand Zero say, well, sod that, we'll just pick up these turret plates and just simply outplay you by having a bigger wallet.
Absolutely, and they're going to bring the Caitlyn now up towards the top lane. A really nice adaptation. They see 5 more plates. It's only 7 minutes. They've got so long before these will actually fall off, and that means they're wanting to inject even more gold into Lemus'. Hold on in the mid lane, Kisei.
He could be in trouble, no flash, no safety net. Scatter the weak onto Ryoma to dodge him out for the meantime, but the pebbling of those rocks comes on through. And he finds his second of the game. Not a bad timing, given that the Void Grubs are up, but Grand Zero there. Not to defend their mid lane, they'll claim this instead. It's
just 1 kill there, but Dragku already showing what he can do on this Nautilus. 100% KP now, and like you mentioned, it will be the Grubs going over that hook. Dangerously close to taking Benvi out.
Honestly, don't know how it didn't. We've seen plenty of suspect-looking Nautilus hooks where they've bent through space and areas to making sure it landed, but Dragku is going to continue to make matters worse. They sound the horn, they look for a target, and they force out the flash from the Caitlyn. Even with 4 members, they say enough is enough, and we will not look to dive any further.
A little bit of greedy positioning there from Lemus will force the flash to come out, but ultimately, no harm, no foul. He's still able to collect those waves, and Zoranus commits all the way up to top lane to throw that horn out. Means he'll lose so much CS and gold down towards his bot side. He's not down too much at this point, but with Antic picking up 1 Void Grub themselves, they're managing to hold on and prevent this top lane push, at least for now.
They certainly are. We didn't see a second set of Void Grubs spawn last game, right? Because we really went in for the initial one and then forgot about it until the Herald did spawn. But Schoenfire, with a massive lead in the jungle 1v1, says, I can afford to wait around here. I've got the red buff, I've got the power. And do you have anybody looking to back you up? The 2v2 is keeping them occupied in the top lane, so it will simply just be that 1-for-1 right now. The flash away to Ryoma. He's not interested. Schoen gets the solo.
He doesn't even need to use the flash there. Just a plain and simple solo kill. Walks into the jungle of Swiper and takes him out there. You can already see, hold on.
How has he just got himself a double kill there? That is a question we will need a replay for in a second, but I tell you what, he manages to always make things work in their favor. King, maybe running on more Pikachu. What a hook! Dragku, it's not enough. They need 1 more auto, and that's what they'll get for their own double.
Schoenfire benefits, but so does King. What a hook from Dragku there to pin Lemus under the turret and get some gold back on towards this side. It really is the tale of 2 carries right now. King on the side of Antic, who's been funneled so much gold, 4-1 on this Xayah, but it's Schoenfire, Ground Zero. Trinity Force completed on this Wukong. He's an absolute monstrosity right now.
He is a weapon, as you say, 3-0-1, and once again looking to try and prove that he is the jungle main, that he can outplay you. Doesn't have to be a carry necessarily. We saw him how many times during the regular split? We're playing Brand, we're playing Talia, and I will just really 1v9. If they say, what, the Grand Zero term, give me the keys and I will succeed. So he's certainly in fit form for a finals.
He absolutely is. We take a look at this play once again. You can see Schoenfire, really smart adaptation, right? He knows that the Poppy W exists. If he uses the E or the W, there is a potential that he gets cancelled there. Instead, just opts to open with the ultimate. That means Swiper has to use that W early on, enables Schoenfire to get that kill without even having to expend Flash and Ryoma here. I'm not sure how he dies a fantastic barrel from Tien to secure the double kill.
So much of that CC, though, that we highlighted during the drafting phase. You think you've got out of one, what is the second one soon to follow? Out go the Feathers, they rip them back, they don't find success, but another fight breaks out in the river. They break the wall and Ryoma locks them in place. 3 members stuck really between that rock and a hard place. So that's kill number 3 for them. And this is all, in essence, to try and get a dragon.
Little by little, ANC are finding the skirmishes in their favor. This time, it's a nice little play in the bot side river. Zoranus might be getting caught out. He is fairly tanky and has backup. Here goes the Ornhorn.
Stern instantly regrets that 1 or 2 man knock off. The clone does count, but he's dead! Destroyed before the ace in the hole can even come through.
Oh no.
It's Nautilus that gets the shutdown, which really isn't the best, but it's the end goal that they'll be happy with. What an orb from Kisei! Drops a nuke on their head for a double, make it a triple! And Kisei proving to still be the best.
Kisei on this Syndra, finding the flank, finding the triple kill. It looked like ANC actually had a little nice start to that play with those hooks landing, with those initial kills. Let's take a look once again. Zoranus getting collapsed upon, realizes he can turn because he has so many members in the area, but it's a really nice cast from TN. Knocks him in, essentially gets one shot before he can even do anything off the back of that ultimate. And like you said, the Nautilus gets the shutdown. Lemus is caught a little bit, but look at Kisei's position. 2-man scatter the weak into the CC from Gragas. Easy fight.
That really is what you live for as a Syndra player, right? The ability to be untouched and do really as you please. The most CS in the game, and finds himself back to base with Illusion's complete as well to really add insult to injury to that burst potential. No Dark Seal at this stage, but shouldn't be too far away, you'd imagine, knowing the form that he finds himself in right now. The response to Marioma being the Archangel. You just want to get as tanky as you can to really cycle through those cooldowns.
Oh, you'll need to at this stage, right? With how fed Syndra is and it's so Fire, you do need to be a little bit careful. Draku channeling the Hex Flash, his mid lane turret should just fall down, perhaps on this next wave. And once again, Dragon's not even looked at by either team really. More used as a focal point to have a fight around. But with the second spawn of the Grubs, you do imagine this topside river might be the site of some action.
Might be really taunting and flirting with danger here, as he's not really allowed to stand in that part of his own jungle right now. Completely bullied out of that one. Ground Zero keeping them locked underneath their own tier 1, which is hanging on by a mere thread. But all that pressure culminates in them saying, yeah, we can go for the second rotation of these Grubs, and this time we're looking for all 5.
And look at the ult cooldowns here, right? The Weaver's Wall and the Ornhorn are just about to come back up right now. Ground Zero need to take advantage of this little window, but here goes Draku.
Draku turns around, hits the Riptide, not really too sure if that's the target he's after so far. As the ace in the hole completely negated, there is the bomb. Roma secured. The scatter the weak, where are you going? And Kisei makes it 4. It's just so effortless. And Antic look a little bit stun-locked.
Every single cast TN throws has been absolutely perfect. That time, synergizing perfectly with Kisei to throw it right into the Scatter the Weak, and Ryoma really can't do anything. Just taken down, and it will be the Void Grubs as the prize for Ground Zero.
Certainly will be. 2-4. It's a happy place to be for Ground Zero. Even more pressure now to siege up these towers, and Caitlyn certainly is at the very top of the table as one of the best to get that job secure. I'll tell you what, Max, we're fast approaching 40 minutes when these plates fall on down. But once again, a monumental lead for Ground Zero.
Funny, I was going to say, it feels like we've had so much action, but that's the play that I was talking about right there from TN. Just throws Ryoma right into the waiting arms of Kisei, and that Talia. Yes, I mean, the items are going in her favor, but really, if you're getting CC'd that heavily, blown up before the fight even starts, you're not able to DPS as you would like. Once again, though, straight out of the replay, it's Antic who brought all 5 members up towards this Rift Herald. Ground Zero will have similar numbers in the area soon. The question is, do they want to fight? That TP to me says yes.
It certainly does, Max. It certainly does. 40% here on the Herald. A very quick turnaround from Grubs into this one. As Antic look to make it happen, Schoenfeld jumps in with that Cyclone. A split decision as to what do they want. The flashes follow. The Cyclone's there. The bot to knock back to Lemus on his own with 1200 HP on the Herald. Looking to try and back up his teammates, but Tien is what he did for 25. And the headshots go out from afar. Kisei tries to take out his counterpart, but drops him low instead.
Say.
And they have really bullied him out from afar, but Kisei might entertain the 1v4 and kills them again as Draku flashing with the hook. It will not be enough, and even underneath their tier 2, they're still forced under pressure.
Hold on, Lemus, he's gotten caught. And he's going to go down. Kisei, though, really is the madman of that play. Once again, playing this flanking Syndra style, finding Scatter the Weak after Scatter the Weak. That one's going to miss, though.
That was a nice toggle, actually, from our observers there to really showcase how close that was from a blind Scatter the Weak, finding even more success. Finally, though, tower number 3 is about to fall on down. Tien really is just ignoring Zoranus at this point, saying, we're just 2 tanks. who really cares?
It is absolutely a bad game to be a top laner, right? We saw in his previous skirmish that we're going to take a look at now, Zoranus is initially caught out, and this Ornn, not very tanky whatsoever. Level 9 essentially gets one shot. Meanwhile, the backside is an incredibly nice Keeper's Verdict to separate this fight. Buy time for Antic to get on us. Hold on, King. He's been caught.
Back into the action, knocked away by the ultimate of the Gragas, shielded there by Draku, putting his body on the line, but they turn it around onto Tien and say enough is enough. Sound out the Ornn horn and choo-choo, knock him down for 2. And that's actually really good timing for them to say, well, what can we acquire from this one? Back to the Herald we go.
Seems like Ground Zero bit off a little more than they could chew there. They thought that the Xayah having no ult was the signal for them to be able to commit, but ultimately they just went too deep on mid lane, didn't have the numbers, had the TP come in from Ryoma to respond, and then they were pincered. Shernfire will go down off the back of that play as well, and that's going to open up this Rift Herald, that's going to open up this top lane turret, and that's going to open up an opportunity for Antic to get back into this game.
Fantastic acquisition for the boys in purple there. That's exactly what they needed to try and make sure they don't find themselves in a similar hole to game 1, down by 10k, what, 20 minutes in? Yes, they're down by 5 at this point, but to get themselves a Herald and to now start getting some objective gold by taking towers, puts them in a good spot because King is not too far behind.
That is a very good sign, given how many plates Lemus was able to get, how much gold he was able to accrue on this Caitlyn. For King to be up there competing with him in terms of gold is definitely a welcome sign. You can see as well the Navori being completed. Desire, if allowed the uptime in fights, is absolutely going to shred through people. And with a little bit of a chunk to this Heimerdinger, nowhere near as fed as you'd want him to be at this stage, right? Really just sitting on this Rylai's Crystal Scepter, as it will be the first dragon 17 minutes in to game 2.
This objective is simply being forgotten about, it feels like Dispatch, right? We are so preoccupied with the ability to try and not only find the tower place, but flip the lane states and then say, oh, right, guys, there are objectives on the map that can offer us even more power in this game. But as it stands, as you say, one dragon, the Elder, is never going to be consideration.
No, absolutely not here. Draku definitely considering trying to hook Shernfire there with Swiper behind him. For the time being, Antic, once again, this is how they've been playing the whole series so far. They're moving around in these little death ball compositions. They know that Grand Zero are going to want to pick off King, but if they bring all the support around him, that is so much harder.
It certainly is. With 4 members, make it 5 now with the Herald being utilised. They will guarantee that they will find their very first turret of the game. Now the question becomes, can they find 2? Because Grand Zero have had enough time now to respond in their own fashion and stop the siege from going any further. Still postured in the mid lane is the likes of Lemus, looking to try and keep them interested for the meantime, making sure that Ryoma can't weave his wall to group up with his team anytime soon as well. And it goes from what was a pretty big gold lead to now only 4k.
Yeah, definitely a close affair now, and you can see with all the control that Antic have, they're certainly in a good position towards this bot side of the map. Zoranus, he's going to find Shernfire here.
Yeah, the fake check that he didn't really want to find. The Weaver's Wall really denying himself out of harm's way. He's got no flash, 20 seconds, but 20 seconds too late. He does as much as he can with the 2 items he has. It will not simply be enough. Zoranus pulls the flash away there as Lemus was there in a lot of trouble, but Tien on the flank saying what's up and gets him done. You say 2 minutes get on a week, Bomber to split them apart, and a silver spooning to say, King, you're the most fed. The Featherstorm, the rip back, the CD wasn't there.
They thought they were going to find Shernfire easily, but ultimately all they're going to find is a TP flank and 4 of their own members dead there. You could see Ground Zero so decisively pulling the trigger. You mentioned how much time Shernfire was able to buy there, and that allows Tien, allows Kisei to come in and clean up the stragglers off the back end.
Let's run it back on this replay initially, because Shernfire is walking into Fog of War, not a care in the world. And look how tanky as we say he is.
I mean, look who's picking him off here, right? It's the tanky members of Antic. They don't have the damage to actually one-shot him, so by the time he actually does die, he gets such a big chunk off and puts Antic in such a poor position that they're having to back out. They only see this TP come through now. Tien essentially appearing out of nowhere, and that is going to split up Antic. Kisei, once again, it feels like every time he comes out of Fog of War, he lands at least a 2-man stun, and that really is the decisive factor in sealing this fight.
It does, to me, feel like, Max, that this 5th pick, Syndra, has been a phenomenal option for them. 5-1-7 right now, going even as it would be with the Talia, but certainly, as we've seen, has been a major menace in the amount of control he has, as if Grand Zero don't have enough as it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly hard task for anyone in Antic to walk in, especially if there's a Heimerdinger who's already able to be set up. But Benby
in trouble. This is that Heimerdinger attack. You burnt the flash, but now when you fall on down, you got 2 tanks running you down. He lives because there's just no range damage.
Okay, Benby, he does have to burn the flash, but ultimately will live here. That's crucial, right? You can see that kill would have transitioned into a fair bit of control retaken for Antic in the top side. But as for the time being, it will be Shernfire looking in towards this top side jungle. We saw what happened when he got involved earlier. Baiting there with a potential S key as Draku's going on to Lemus.
If isolated Lemus, he's got a bounty on his head right now. King is there to bolster him, and this is what happens when Antic have some damage. A massive shutdown goes their way. Baron has just spawned.
And it's so unfortunate for Lemus there. You could see he was trying to get into a position to be able to flash over the wall. If he was able to do that, he potentially would have at least traded the flash from Xayah, but ultimately he will just go down there. 8th kill for King. Certainly steering ahead in this AD carry department.
We've seen this happen time and time again. I always remember that final game that went all the way to 50 minutes. I believe we even mentioned it was like the longest game in LCO history ever. And King in that one found himself in a very similar scoreline, and it was all undone by Schönfire in particular. He certainly got himself, his work rather, cut out for him. But both of them have been the big stars of the show.
They have been, and as we get later into this game, right, the question of killing the carries becomes so much more important and becomes so much harder as well. I mean, look at Antic's protection. You can see Zoranus has been incredibly willing this game to sacrifice waves to group up with his team, just essentially stand on top of King to make sure that Schönfire and Tien aren't able to find him and pick him off. But for the meantime, Draku, he has really been the lead aggressor here, right? Anytime he sees an enemy walking, he's very willing to throw that dredge line. But for the time being, Baron control will be the focus here. All ground zero so far in the river.
It's obviously going to be so difficult to try and face check that one if you are Antic, with the amount of turrets and wards and ability for you to get hit by a blind skill shot, be it the Gragas or even the Syndra at this point. And with the amount of choke spots given the Baron spawn, they might just look to start things up.
If they are looking, they should be able to notice the TP coming through here. Antic, they know something's up. They know they want to walk into this Baron. They can't give it over. But is this a bait from ground zero? Here comes the TP.
Flanking TP, Hook barely misses Kisse. That's what they were relying upon. The Baron is gone. The ult goes out. What can they salvage from this play? Well, a single Kisse would be quite nice, but he burns Flash. He's taking no chances. Across the wall goes Swiper. He misses the wall bang, but the flip is good. The shutdown is there. The Featherstorm is fantastic. But the knockover is still going to connect onto King, who may just simply die to the Wukong. Schönfire, he's just too good.
He's absolutely unleashed here. Zoran is going to be taken down by Benvi while Schönfire hunts his counterpart. Actually, will he? He might be able to walk out here. There is a little bit of an inside track here, but he might be able to make the distance. What is Zoranus going to do here? Heimerdinger is chasing him.
Is he going to look to try and turn this one around? It still looks to be the case. Hit him with the charge! He says, don't disrespect me. Top life sucks, but supports is even worse.
No flash, no chance there for Benvi. The one shining light there for Antic will be that trade kill. Otherwise, it's an absolutely perfect play by ground zero. You can see the positioning from Benvi and Kisse kind of indicate that they want to turn. They seem like they're faking the disengage here, but ultimately this whole time they're still hitting the Baron, still chunking Antic while they have to walk through this choke. And before the fight even starts, the Baron's dead. Yes, Kisse's in a bad position, has to flash the wall, but look at what he's able to get done. He gets flashed upon, but crucially, look at the stun. That buys enough time for the rest of Ground Zero to get in. Yes, Tien doesn't land the E, but he allows Schönfire to get into the back line. And once this Wukong's on your Xayah, the fight is done.
It certainly was game over by that point, and you could see just how split Ground Zero were in their disengage. Then we run it right back into another fight. CC Wombo combo, lock this champion in place, but his zone used to try and buy some time. In comes Schönfire. He's got the cycle available in about 5 seconds. He just needs some time. The fight is going too quick. He needs to wait and find his moment to strike. Yet to find a kill apart from Tien falling on down. He was the one surrounded, but they shield the dragon.
They will find the kill, but ultimately it is going to be Ground Zero, like you said, who have the priority still over the objective. Full HP bars on every single one of their members who are still alive. And Antic right now, we saw what happened before when they had to walk through a choke into a Syndra, Heimerdinger, and Caitlyn. 3 champions you absolutely hate being in enclosed spaces against, and that means that Ground Zero are able to pick up this objective as well.
Drake number 2 then secured by Ground Zero, and they'll be licking their lips at the prospect of getting themselves an Infernal Soul, as if at this point, Max, they even need more damage.
Yeah. I mean, this Syndra right now, you can see, going to be basing at the moment after this play with the rest of the team. Void Staff very well underway here. And Schönfire, 2 items completed. Sundered Sky working his way towards the Titanic, you'd have to assume. Just a profound backline threat. And at this stage, there's no LDR online yet for this Xayah. So he's going to have a bit of a harder time punching through those tankier members, as we saw with how long it took him to kill Tien in that previous play.
What us then check in with actually where all this gold is spread out at the moment. And still, it is the battle between King and Lemus as to who can reign supreme, who can have the most in the game. This is certainly not done by any stretch of the imagination, but Schönfire once again wanting to flaunt his wealth. The 2.5 items, doesn't care who he finds in a bush, he'll go for it. Kisse again, still flanking. How he continues to find these moments to go and make it work, I'll never quite understand, but Zoran is trying to buffer as much as he can by going unstoppable. Stunned, and just tanking the world and more. and everything's crashing against Antic.
And where is the damage? Schönfire finds Dragu, takes him out. There's simply no response to be had there. Kisei was threatening the flank that whole time. It meant that King wasn't able to sit back and DPS like he would want to. And now that's 2 members dead. Yes, there's only 5 seconds on Dragu. The Weavers will come out to try to dissuade this push here. And there goes the flip.
It's a triple flip. That's absolutely huge. Tien is going to fall on down on the process as well. It's a 2 denied. Oh, look at King. He wants more. He wants even more. He's got himself a double so far, blindly chasing in. He's hunting for them all. He really wants to showcase why he's won so much before in this region and refuses to lose at what, 11-4.
Dangerous there from Antic. Ryoma, like you said, the 3-man seismic shove to be able to save that fight and keep Antic in this game. Double subs having to be expended for King on this Xayah, but ultimately 3 items completed, swinging the game back in their favor. They're going to be able to crack this mid lane turret.
Let's run it back with this replay once again. It's the Weavers War to try and really hard force the play and say, are you in or are you out, Ground Zero?
And it makes it very awkward for Ground Zero, right? There's no flashes on the majority of these carries here. Just a fantastic Taliyah W. And then look at King. He's actually able to use the Featherstorm aggressively to go forwards. Flashes onto Lemus instantly as soon as that root comes through. And with the Ghost, it's just a matter of seconds to be able to find what could have been a pentakill.
It certainly could have been. And I mean, it's a pretty good breakpoint in the game, right? Because we've been pretty stable in terms of just how far ahead Ground Zero have been. Up by 5k. Despite that, though, some pretty crucial item spikes have been found by Antic. You've just got the Jack Show now for Zoran as he works towards those ornaments. But the Bloodthirster, yes, it does deny the LDR, but I think for King, he's like, I just need survivability, and that's why he's gone for the Hex Drinker second.
Yeah, the Hex Drinker makes a lot of sense, right? It's kind of similar, almost a reverse situation of what we saw last game, where it was that AP threat in the mid lane, who you are really worried about getting one shot by. If that CC lands, Kisei flashing forward, chucking an ultimate on your head with the Void Staff complete now as well, will essentially just one-shot you from full HP. So a nice little pickup. He understands that he really is Antic's ticket to win. He's got more than half their kills in this game, and the team is so built around supporting him in these team fights.
I mean, it's not to say that Roma's no strong contender as well, right? With the Banshees, the Archangels, as well as the Leandries, he's incredibly tanky, and if given a chance to survive, cycle through those cooldowns, he burns them all down and gives it to King and says, finish the job for me. So this is an interesting game state to find ourselves in right now. 90 seconds towards that third potential Dragon Soul point, but the Baron in 15 is what we're really fighting for.
And that ward that you can see right next to Raptor Camp from Antic is actually really huge, right? It enables you to have a bit of certainty as hold on Benvi.
Envy's being caught, but he has no flash. He burnt that prior. Last time they had no damage. This time they do. This time they won't get it. They burn and ignite to say, get out of here. As Dragu picks that one up. And Zoran has cops the world. He gets an ace in the hole, but he's got the shields. He's got the tank, and he's missed it because the Gragasol denies it. Now stuck in the mid lane, and with ultimates, with HPs, and summoners all burnt, who decides to take the gamble to go back to base?
He's got to be very careful there as well. Even as an Ornn, with the Syndra being the level that she is, if she's able to get that ultimate off, could just essentially execute him. But Antic, they're going to waste no time here. Benvi's dead for 10 seconds. They're TPing in. They want to get this Baron.
They certainly do. They have a lot of damage right now, especially does King. With this Navori Quick Blade, Dragu looking to try and lock down as many members as possible. Kisei jumps in. The Baron will not be stolen. It's been taken here by Antic. The knock up with the Schönfire as he's denied across the wall, but still Ground Zero chase on forward. And Antic, as a 5-man squad, run out together.
I am so shocked that not a single kill happened there. You can see Ground Zero Schönfire managed to get into the pit, get out as well, but no smite still coming through. It ultimately was King who secured that Baron. That Xayah E just providing so much damage is essentially a smite in and of itself at this stage. But that will allow Ground Zero the opportunity to set up for this Dragon. This would put them on Soul Point, Infernal Soul nonetheless. Meanwhile, Antic very happy to give that one over and say we're going to crack the base.
You can have that, but we'll open the base. We'll give ourselves some win conditions to play around. We'll split push pressure. There is Dragon number 3 complete. But how quickly can they get back to defense? As Antic will say, well, one tower, that is all we'll get on this occasion, but Rome is already preoccupied mid.
Absolutely is, and with that Baron, he's going to bring the game back to within 3,000 gold. Certainly not a game-breaking lead by any means. The fight could go either way. It's just indicated by how close the kill score is. A very bloody game, but still one that is up for grabs by anyone. You can see items King completing the Maw of Malmortius, working towards his final item here. You would assume that would be something like the LDR to be able to get through the likes of Schönfire and Tien, who are getting a bit tankier in this late game stage. But once again, with so much damage, anyone getting caught out can get one shot.
And he knows he needs the durability to actually stand around. If the Featherstorm's burnt, he's a squishy full DPS build. the job's done, right? It's as simple as Schoenfighter jumping on him and getting a kill very easily. But, I mean, at this point, you have to say, he's got all the tools in the world, right? With the Locket, with the Knight's Vow, with all the survivability, and now with the Ornament upgrade too from Zorinus, I mean, the world really is your oyster.
That's the thing, right? The gold lead is essentially even when you start to consider the stats that those ornaments are going to give here. Antic have the inside tracks on bot lane. They've been really nice in keeping Ryoma sort of separate from the place. You can get a nice Venus wall angle.
Oh!
Hold on, Swiper!
Swiper's just dead! Stunned underneath the tower, and that certainly didn't help him from getting out on that occasion. Ground Zero flanking as they defend from the top. They flank from the left-hand side. What a knockback onto Zorinus! CC for what feels like an eternity. And the siege with the Baron team is the one being forced back.
I mean, TN has to be given an award for this Gragas performance. Time after time as Ryoma's not done. Will just miss that seismic shove there. You could see, even with 2 members down, the fact that they've got King and they've got Ryoma healthy and ready to fight, they still feel confident. But like you said, that's a really big spanner in the works of what could have otherwise been a very substantial Baron push. They had the setup. They had Ryoma potentially walking up to use that Weaver's Wall and separate the fight once again. As hold on, Draku!
Oh, so close again. But how annoying is it when they draw a line in the sand like this and plant all those Caitlyn traps and say, yeah, you've got the Baron, here you've got the siege. It's just not allowed to happen. Thankfully for them, the Baron-inspired recalls gets them out very quickly before Ground Zero can respond. Let's run it back to see just how clean it was in the first place.
Yeah, so Antic have a very nice position here, but Swiper just steps on a trap, gets stunned, gets one shot, even through the flash. That Syndra ult had already been cast, so he'll get taken down. The Weaver's Wall does do a nice job of separating the fight, but look at TN here. Every single cast, once again, being thrown, setting up another Scat of the Week from Kisei, and that means Zorinus will fall down. No engage, no frontline remaining. They're forced to back off.
It could be 2 from 2. This time the cast doesn't connect, but will it matter? Because Swiper knocks back 2, says forget the red buff, forget the support in his Heimerdinger. Let's turn our attention towards bot lane, because Zorinus is now the focus. He's incredibly tanky, and they've isolated out 1. Flip into Zonius, into Time Beam purchase, TP turrets, as well as the traps, with a flanking Wukong, without a Cyclone. Preemptive flash there from Roma, bopped in his head, is Schoenfighter to get himself on a rampage. Now 8 kills to his name. And the reason it worked is because King wasn't there.
Absolutely, Ground Zero knew when to pick that fight. Desire, who is so much of this gold lead, so much of this damage for Antic, not even in the fight here and now. With this numbers advantage, Ground Zero, they might be looking to take the game.
Setting up to try and end this game right now. The Pepperstorm already burnt nice and early. Schoenfighter 1 in the firing lines. But he's going to juke them with a fantastic flash there from Lemus. Really breaking the ankles of Draku and forcing him to really think about life. For 45 seconds.
They've got a wave coming in here. There's no Featherstorm on King. He does have double summoners, and Zorinus is coming up soon. Can they hold on?
That is the question. They're getting flanked from every angle. The flash charge, guarantee it. You're not going anywhere, King. You've got no corners. You've got no survivability. You can be tanky by your itemization, but we will just prevail. Ground Zero, as low as they are, hit the Nexus.